Hey everybody, welcome back to Art in Actuality. I am just going to make a quick video today. I'm using a new camera. I got a DJI Osmo Pocket. I found the Pocket 1 on sale for like just a little less than $200. And the Osmo Pocket 3 right now is going for about almost $1,000, so this is kind of a steal. So if you are looking for a good vlogging camera, this one is a pretty good deal right now. Anyway, I digress. Just like I just got off on a tangent there, that's kind of what this video is about. Just about productivity and staying on task with things, and also about a book that I'm editing. It's one of the tasks that I do in between work when I'm working on things. So the book is called The Cancel, and the cancel is basically just what it sounds like. You cancel things that are no longer serving you, right? So like if something is not working for you, or if it's just like dead weight and you got to figure out a way to move on and you want to make it work in a better and more efficient way, you cancel it. It takes a lot of courage to do that. Maybe not for some people if they're accustomed to doing that all the time, right? But some of us aren't, and that's basically why I'm writing that book. And it's actually finished. I'm actually just editing it. But I was actually scrolling through it, and I was going to go to the place where I was in the document at that time, but I actually started to just read from the beginning, and I realized that there's actually a lot of stuff that I still needed to kind of reword, and I had Grammarly going, so it was kind of suggesting some more succinct and short ways of saying things, and I was taking those suggestions and implementing those, and I just kind of realized that there's still a lot that I can glean from just even those first couple of chapters that talked about the whole concept of the thing, and it talked about my life and the things I was doing, and a lot of it just made me think, like, what are the things that work and what are the things that don't, right? Like, and I was just trying to figure out some of the things that I was talking about in that book are things that I still do today. There are also some things that I've talked about on this channel as well, so they're just some ideas and some tips and tricks that you can use to kind of break patterns, I think is the best way to say it. And anyway, so I just thought I'd make this video to talk about that because I found myself inspired by my own book as I was reading back through parts of it that I thought I had already finished editing, and I wasn't really finished editing those parts. So now I'm still working on the task that I'm supposed to be doing, or not right now anyway, because I'm making a video as a sort of a break activity between writing sessions, right? But it just made me realize that there's still ways that you can use that. I'll read back through my productivity journal and I'll see like what things I got distracted by in the past and what my patterns and what my basically just whatever I did during that time. And I can look and say, okay, this worked, that didn't, and I can really see like what to do going forward. So I just think that there's definitely a lot of value in trying to analyze your patterns. Analyze your patterns and find out what you, how do I say this? Because I'm going to use this as the title for the video. We're going to walk around and do this one. So analyzing your patterns to achieve breakthrough, right? How do you achieve breakthrough? Well, if you stay stuck in old patterns, what you end up doing is you definitely don't achieve breakthrough. You usually just stay stuck, right? So that's kind of the thing that I'm trying to work through right now, is just how do you move past things that you thought you had moved past, right? Things that you thought aren't a part of your patterns anymore, and then you suddenly realize, oh, they actually still are, right? It's not a good feeling. It's not something any of us want to realize about ourselves, and I think a lot of us find ways of not having to think about those things, right? And you know, that can work if you just want to feel better, right, for the moment. But it's not a long-term solution. Why is that? Well, because you're still going to revisit those same patterns again and again and again and again until you recognize them, pinpoint exactly what's causing them, find out how to change them, and then successfully, try, then you actually have to put in the work to try to change those patterns, which often we fail at changing patterns, especially if they're long-standing, and then eventually succeed at changing those patterns, usually just through repetition and, kind of patient perseverance, right? So that's kind of what I'm, realizing through all of this is that, hey, I wrote The Cancel back in 2023, and it's going to be coming out soon. I think I might post some samples, maybe I might even do a video and just read a little bit from it, even though I don't really believe in doing that, because I feel like it's kind of it's just another way of putting off doing something. But I think I'm going to do it. Maybe the next video is going to be that. Yeah, maybe the next video is going to be that. I can read from The Cancel and actually share some of that with you guys, because I really want this to come to fruition. I want it to be something that I can share with the world, because I'm learning from my own book. At the very least, I'm learning that 2 years ago, I sat and wrote about how I was achieving a breakthrough by changing my patterns. And now I'm realizing that a lot of those patterns are still in place. A lot of those things are long-standing patterns that in some ways I've achieved breakthrough in some areas. I've found ways to get around some of my old patterns. I ended certain commitments that I felt were really holding me back. I managed to build up my career in certain areas, and I managed to accomplish things over that period of time. But I also, if I'm really being honest with myself, a lot of my old patterns are still there. And it's not helping me to not be in recognition of that. It certainly wouldn't help me to get down on myself over the fact that the patterns are still there. Although I think just having that look back into the past and realizing that that was something that I was still dealing with at that time, recognizing and using some of the same tools to try to deal with those things at that time. And then now I'm still using some of the same tools, and I haven't fully dealt with those patterns. That's not to say that the tools I'm using are ineffective. It's just that, well, one of the things that I've realized is I have to alternate between the tools. I think that's the right way to say that. And by doing that, nothing gets to the point where it stops working, right? And then the other thing I think is just routines, right? You can't just be in a complete perfect routine all the time unless your life is really that simplified. And a lot of people's are, because they just have you go to work, you come home, you may have a few things you do when you spend time with people and stuff. Maybe you take a vacation here and there, right? But if life gets too complicated, especially if there's situations that are a little bit out of balance, and it does get to a point, now I'm kind of going off on a tangent, especially if there's situations that are a little bit out of balance, and then you start to not have boundaries in those situations because of guilt, or because you feel obligated, or for fear of what you may lose if you don't compromise on boundaries that you need to have in place so that you can get things done. When you start to have that kind of stuff come up, then when you get into a flow state, or if you get into a groove, right, with things, and you start to make some progress, once you pull yourself out of the groove or out of the routine that is actually helping you get there, then you don't get there anymore. So that's something that I'm now learning. And it's you can't just, even though I wrote a book about canceling things that don't serve you, you can't just be all or nothing with your willingness to help other people or deal with situations and things. You can't just do that, but you also have to find a balance with that, and that's always a difficult thing, and it changes from moment to moment, day to day. depending on the circumstances, what's going on, what's happening. And you'll have to excuse me. I have a slight cold, so I have a red nose and everything, but still wanted to make a video, so I'm doing it. But it changes, from moment to moment, from day to day. Looking back at it, I wouldn't say it's changed that much from year to year, even though I know my career is in a different place now. It's literally a whole different career, which I've built up over these last 2 years through deliberate moves that I've made and things that I've, gotten myself into, stuck in there through, and become stronger and, more, I guess you could just say, someone who has I just have a lot more, I don't want to say depth, but it's just there's more that I've acquired as far as like understanding of that situation and who I am in that situation and how I fit into all of that and what I can do, and it shows. Like I'm able to communicate and demonstrate that to people so easily that I don't even have to try anymore, which is great. It really is. But all that being said, like I'm still having to try to battle with myself to get to the point where I want to be, as far as, I guess, just actualizing my true potential and not just squandering it away. Because I'll look at these productivity logs, and that's only when I do them. There'll be days and days in between where I'm just like, wow, I just didn't do the thing, I did everything else imaginable, but not the thing that I, intended to do. And I hope this helps somebody, because I'm learning, still I'm learning what worked, and I'm figuring out how to break through this kind of funk, this kind of stagnancy, this kind of paralysis that, it's not like as if it's completely void of any meaning or any useful purpose, because I do have a lot of introspective work that I do a lot of I don't know how to put it. It's just a lot of soul searching, a lot of shadow work, a lot of dream journaling, a lot of journaling in general, just a lot of looking back through things and just like kind of absorbing things and integrating, and what it does for me is it does kind of get me back to a place where I have my own sense of perspective. It's not something where I'm looking outside of me or, expecting something, and if that's not met, then I'm not able to go forward and do what I need to do. Like I'm developing this sense of things that's completely and 100% with myself. And then I'm able to take that and I'm able to do so many things in such a better way, because it's not dependent on anything else, but that being said, I get lost in that sometimes, to the point where it's like what I want or where I want to go with things, I can't get there if that's all I focus on. So it's like I'm learning just little by little, like this is what I have to do if I want to make it to where I want to be, if I want to have the outcome that I want, that's what I have to do. So once again, hopefully this helps somebody. I'm definitely going to heavily edit this, so all right, cheers.